So now let's take a look at the timing of events. We use the Vimshottara Dasha sequence. We just look at the main period ruler, which can be anywhere from 6 years to 20 years. And then we look at the sub-period, or the operating planets as well. So we can see that Taylor Swift was born during a Rahu main period, which lasted until September 2003, or about the age of 13 or 14. So we see that Rahu is in the house of wealth, status, and family life. And Rahu is the planet of energy and desires and ambition and charisma. And it's in the house of status in life. It is with Venus ruling music and entertainment. Now generally the last year of Rahu is characterized by massive change. And we see this as a Mars subperiod. Mars is in her 12th house, which is relocation. So there was a massive change around 13 or 14 years of age when she left her home and moved with her mother, I think, to Nashville, Tennessee to start her career. So now you see that since about the age of 14, she's been running 16 years of Jupiter. And we've talked about how powerful Jupiter is in this chart because it rules the chart. And it's well placed and close to the rising sign degree, and blessing the house of relationships, the house of income, the house of self, and the house of independence and entrepreneurial success. So definitely a favorable 16-year cycle. It is followed by 19 years of Saturn, which is also favorable for this chart. And after the 19 years of Saturn, there'll be 17 years of Mercury. So this is quite good fortune, in my opinion, to have 16 years of the favorable Jupiter, 19 years of the favorable Saturn, 17 years of the favorable Mercury. Now keep in mind that for some charts, Jupiter can be a malefic, or Saturn can be a malefic, or Mercury can be a malefic. So those people would not have the kind of success that she can have. We do have to watch the subperiods or the operating planets. So the current subperiod or operating planet is Sun from April 2014 till the end of January 2015. And then she's going to run 16 months of Moon. Now Moon rules this 8th house. It's not a favorable planet. It's actually the most malefic planet for Sagittarius rising sign. And if you add 5 to this, you got 1447, and this is 1428. So technically it's within the orb of 5 degrees of the ascendant, and it's within 5 degrees of Jupiter. So those 16 months can cause some setbacks or accidents to her own self, setbacks relative to husband and children, setbacks to her name, fame, health, and appearance. So if she has this awareness, then she can do the remedy, which is to help mother or mother-in-law or elderly women on Mondays, and not to wear pearls or to use white colors in her life. Now the Mars period I'm also concerned about, because although Mars is a favorable planet ruling her 5th house, it's in the 12th house of loss. That can cause loss of a child, that can cause loss of a younger brother. Mars is younger brothers. Losses and expenses connected with property. Positive side, maybe it gives her a child or education in a foreign land, or property in a foreign land. Maybe she buys a home in some other country or something. Now she finishes her Jupiter period in a Rahu subperiod. Rahu's, we have to be careful because it is Rahu, but I do think it's extremely well placed and it's causing no affliction in this chart. However, when Rahu is operating, so is Ketu. They're the north and south nodes of the moon. And this Ketu aspects 5, 7, and 9 houses away. It's not bothering Mars because it's 21 degrees from Mars. It's not bothering Venus. It's 16 degrees from Venus. But it is definitely within 5 degrees of Sun. So the Rahu period from May 2017 to September 2019 There could be some serious setbacks for her father. He may have some high blood pressure or some cardiovascular issues or trouble with his stomach or digestion, blood, bones, immune system. And she may also have some issues. So both of them need to strengthen the sun. I would recommend that she and her father take a product called Pro-Arginine Plus, which is amino acids. It's a powder. You mix it in water, you drink it, and it becomes nitric oxide in the bloodstream, and it cleans the plaque out of the arteries. So both Taylor and her father would benefit from that. Then she goes into 19 years of Saturn, which is quite favorable. Now this is Taylor's chart at the time of birth. This is Taylor's chart where the planets are today. So we have to pay attention to the transits of the planets. All significant events in life are connected with the transits of the planets, and they can and do supersede the dashas, the main and subperiods. So one of my concerns for all Sagittarius rising signs is that Jupiter ruling the chart back in June 2014 entered her 8th house for 1 year. So just slide Jupiter over here at 27 degrees. It's sitting right on top of Ketu. It just went over. It went 22, 23, 24, 25, 26. It's at 27 today. It will get to 28 and try to pull away from Ketu, but then it's going to go retrograde 28, 27, 26, 25, 24, 23, 22. So it's good. This is a slow-moving transit over Ketu by Jupiter, which rules her chart and her health and her reputation, husband and children. And this is the 8th house, which is called Randra. It means transformations and vulnerability. Transiting over Ketu, which is connected with obstructions, delays, setbacks, disappointments, and past life karma. This is not an easy transit. I think it can be managed if she's wearing a yellow sapphire gemstone for Jupiter and or the mystical pendant known as the Kavach, then she'll be okay. But this transit's about 2 months. After that, it won't be so bad. It will go retrograde quite a bit and then come back later on, maybe next May, June. It'll come back across this Ketu, and then it'll pull into Leo in the middle of July. And this will be much better. This 3-year period here, where Jupiter spends a year in her 9th, 10th, and 11th houses each, a year each, that 3-year transit will be much more favorable. But this is a bit of a delicate transit right now. We can even take a quick look at it here. We'll go to transits. So, see, here's Jupiter in her 8th house. The inner chart is her chart. Outer chart is the transit chart. See, this Jupiter, if we back it up a month or so, see now you can, 2 months ago it was applying to this Ketu. 1 month ago, in the middle of October, it was exactly on top of Ketu. Now it's pulling away from Ketu, but it will go retrograde. See here it's retrograde, the R, and it's going to come back middle of December. Middle of January, it's right on top of Ketu. Middle of February, still on top of Ketu. Then it pulls away. So here's some space, March 12th. So that's okay. A little bit of relief for a couple of months. But then it's going to come back around the middle of May. Here's 1st of June. Look at this. They're right on top of each other again. So that's for the month of June. And then it separates. So even though this transit of Jupiter is considered favorable insofar as it's in its exaltation sign of Cancer, we have to take into consideration that it's taking place in the 8th house, a Dustan Bhava. So it's not favorable, and it's transiting over Ketu. So I think she can have some setbacks, delays, obstructions, even accidents, or even death-like experiences. But we keep in view that Ketu is moksha karaka, the significator for spirituality. So it's going to make her very, very spiritual. Maybe she just decides to spend a few months here doing deep meditation and spiritual practices. And that would be a good use of this. It would be excellent. This would be a good time for research, language, mystical experiences, occult knowledge, Vedic astrology. She could study astrology. She'd be a very good astrologer, by the way. Jupiter, blessing, income, self, and self-initiatives in the house of relationships. So that's one transit I'm concerned about. Middle of next July, much better, and then for 3 years, Jupiter's transit can give her husband and children. Saturn, by the way, has just gone into her 12th house. So you just take this Saturn, slide it over here. It's at 1 degree in Scorpio. It'll be here for 2 years and 2 months, till January 2017. So this, on a positive side, it connects entrepreneurial success with foreign lands. So I would recommend that she goes on world tour. Or at least, do her marketing worldwide. Negative side, it can cause losses and expenses if she's not careful by trying to start new independent projects. So she should be careful with her investments. She should not invest millions and millions of dollars in some entrepreneurial startup. It would be losses and expenses completely for 2 years and 2 months. Now when Saturn comes into her first house, that'll be quite favorable. And in fact, so that'll be around January 2017. Now it comes into here for a few months, and then it goes back into here for a couple of months. And then in November it'll be here. So November 2017, going forward for 5, 10, 12 and a half years, the transit of Saturn will be favorable for her. Now this leaves Rahu and Ketu. They're at 24 degrees in even signs. Take Rahu over here, put him here at 24 degrees. Oops, he aspects 5, 7, and 9 houses away. So this transit Rahu is afflicting her natal Rahu. This transit Ketu is afflicting her natal Ketu and her natal Sun. So this is not good, and this started 2 months ago. So we need to see when this starts and when this ends. So we're coming back to where we are right now in November. See, Rahu and Ketu got to 25 degrees at the end of August. So we're going to call this September 1st. 25 degrees. So that means this Ketu this transit Ketu right here in Pisces is aspecting her natal Ketu in Cancer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 houses away. And this Rahu also aspecting this Rahu. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So transit planets can impact natal planets. And natal planets can impact transit planets. And transit planets can impact transit planets. There's 3 ways you look at transits. Transit to transit, transit to natal, and natal to transit. But my point is, back on September 1st, Rahu and Ketu are 25 degrees, afflicting their natal positions and her Sun, which is father. And that's all of September, all of October, all of November, and it'll be over with at the end of December. So this is also a little strained, to say the least, right now, and it has been for 3-4 months. So she may be feeling it, and it can cause some unexpected eclipse. Rahu and Ketu are mathematical ecliptic points in the zodiac. They do cause the eclipse of the sun and the moon every year since the beginning of time. So we have to manage them. The remedy for Rahu is to help afflicted persons. For Ketu, you help holy persons. For Rahu, you can feed the birds in the morning. For Ketu, you can feed stray dogs or donate to animal shelters for stray dogs. Anyways, in many ways, she has a very powerful chart, but like all of us, we have to be careful about the transits. I don't care how successful you are, how intelligent you are, how educated you are, how wealthy you are, how healthy you are. Sooner or later, trouble comes to everyone, and it has to do with the slow-moving transits. And Jupiter ruling your chart in the 8th house until the middle of next July, Saturn in her 12th house for 2 years, Rahu and Ketu causing trouble for 3, 4, 5 months. Not good. So there's a little bit of a rough patch for her on the inside. So if she just focuses on the remedies, if you focus on the remedies for your chart, the twofold remedies, strengthen your benefic planets and do the charities for planets causing adverse effects, then you'll have much smoother sailing. When the adverse effects of the Sanchita karma manifest, past life karma, then the impact is no longer 80, 90, 100% overwhelming. The impact is 30, 20, 10%, much more manageable. Namaste.